Juanita Bynum was born on January 16, 1959, in Chicago, Illinois, to Thomas Bynum Sr. and Catherine Bynum. Growing up in a Pentecostal Christian family with 4 siblings, Kathy, Janice, Regina, and Thomas, she was raised in an environment centered on faith, attending St. Luke Church of God in Christ, where her father was an elder. Her formative years were shaped by regular participation in church and the values instilled by her parents. She attended Saints Academy of the Church of God in Christ in Lexington, Mississippi, where she excelled academically, graduating as the albeit second highest in her class. Her early introduction to church life, along with her innate ability to preach, laid the groundwork for her future as a spiritual leader. Juanita Bynum is known for wearing many hats. She's a televangelist, gospel, singer, author, actress, and describes herself as a prophetess. Her rise to prominence began in the mid-1990s when Bishop T.D. Jakes invited her to speak at his singles conference in 1996. It was her sermon, No More Sheets, at the 1997 Woman, Thou Art Loosed conference that propelled her onto the international stage. This message, which focused on sexual purity and emotional healing, resonated especially with Black women, opening up conversations about sexuality in Christian settings where such subjects were rarely addressed. Her ministry presence quickly expanded across multiple platforms. She established Morning Glory Ministries, which later became Juanita Bynum Ministries, and hosted events such as the Women's Weapons of Power Conference, held annually from 2000 to 2006. She became a familiar face on the Trinity Broadcasting Network, TBN, and spoke at enormous gatherings, including a 2005 event in Kenya that drew over 750,000 attendees, one of the largest crowds ever led by a female preacher. Beyond preaching, Bynum made her mark in gospel music, releasing several albums. One of her most notable, A Piece of My Passion, went platinum and reached number 55 on the Billboard 200. She also worked on projects like Gospel Goes Classical and published The Diary of Juanita Bynum. As an author, she wrote best-selling books such as The Threshing Floor, No More Sheets, Matters of the Heart, and My Spiritual Inheritance, which focus on spiritual development and personal empowerment. Her influence extended to television, with appearances on shows like Lincoln Heights and in movies such as Mama, I Want to Sing, where she acted alongside Kiara and Lynn Whitfield. She also contributed as a marriage counselor on Divorce Court and had her own radio show. As the CEO of Juanita Bynum Enterprises, she launched ventures including Sunflower Records, a skincare line, a dance academy, and Flow Records. Her impact has been recognized in major outlets like Essence and Charisma magazines. Central to her messages are the themes of empowerment, celibacy for singles, and spiritual resilience. Drawing from her own life, she inspires audiences around the world, known for her willingness to tackle difficult topics and her skill at integrating faith with practical life advice. One of the defining characteristics of Bynum's life is her resilience, particularly in the face of domestic abuse. Her first marriage, which occurred in the early 1980s, lasted 4 years and was marked by domestic violence that left deep emotional and physical scars. The trauma from this relationship triggered a downward spiral, leading to a series of personal crises, including an eating disorder, financial hardship, and such profound despair that she attempted suicide and was hospitalized. These early challenges tested her faith and strength at a time when she was still shaping her identity as a minister. Bynum has chosen to keep many details of this marriage private, prioritizing her healing while still drawing on the experience to connect with others. In her sermons and writings, she has spoken about the internal and external abuse she endured, emphasizing that true recovery involves addressing both personal wounds and those inflicted by others. This period, while painful, contributed to her later advocacy and her ability to empathize with those experiencing similar struggles. Her second marriage, to Bishop Thomas Wesley Weeks III in 2002, brought her personal life into the public eye. Their $1.2 million wedding was widely celebrated, but the marriage ended in tragedy when Weeks physically assaulted her in an Atlanta hotel parking lot in 2007. The incident, which was heavily covered in the media, resulted in Weeks pleading guilty to assault and Bynum filing for divorce. The public nature of this ordeal meant that Bynum had to heal while under scrutiny, but it also gave her a platform to raise awareness about domestic violence. Following this traumatic event, Bynum became a vocal advocate for survivors of domestic abuse, sharing her story on national platforms and using her ministry to reach those in need of healing. Her openness challenged the notion that spiritual leaders are immune to hardship and encouraged other survivors, especially within religious communities, to speak out and seek support. Through her books and sermons, she stressed that healing is a complex process requiring attention to both internal struggles and external circumstances. Her experiences with abuse have shaped her legacy, establishing her as a powerful advocate for change and a source of inspiration for those facing adversity. She has created spaces where survivors can find support and encourage churches to address abuse more openly. Her story also illustrates the intersection of faith and resilience, showing that spiritual leaders, too, must confront and overcome personal challenges. The loss of her parents further influenced Bynum's journey. In 2008, her father, Thomas Bynum Sr., died suddenly of a heart attack just months before her 50th birthday. She described him as her rock, a source of unwavering support and guidance, whose absence left a significant void. This loss was particularly poignant as it coincided with a milestone in her life. She commemorated her 50th birthday the following year by wearing her wedding dress, marking a personal rebirth as Juanita Bynum the. Though her father's absence was deeply felt, her mother, Catherine Bynum, passed away in January 2022 at the age of 83, surrounded by family. Unlike her father's sudden death, her mother's passing allowed for a sense of closure. Bynum shared her grief publicly, expressing her heartbreak but also finding comfort in the loving farewell they shared. Her mother's role as the matriarch of the family, though less visible to the public, was fundamental to Bynum's upbringing and faith. These experiences of loss have shaped Bynum's ministry, deepening her empathy and authenticity. By sharing her grief, she offered solace to others facing similar pain and challenged the expectation that spiritual leaders must always appear strong. Her willingness to be vulnerable has encouraged others to see grief as a legitimate part of the faith journey, and her ministry reflects the lessons learned through these personal trials. Bynum's battles with mental health are another important aspect of her story. After her first marriage ended, she faced severe emotional distress, including an eating disorder and financial instability. These struggles escalated to a suicide attempt, leading to her hospitalization and the beginning of her recovery. Throughout her ministry, she has been open about these challenges, using her story to inspire others and reduce the stigma around mental health issues within faith communities. She has also spoken candidly about other personal struggles, including drug use and same-sex relationships in her youth. Raised in a conservative religious environment, Bynum later described these experiences as part of her journey away from and ultimately back to her faith. Her openness about these topics, especially within the church, was both brave and groundbreaking, allowing her to connect with people who felt marginalized or judged. By weaving these stories into her sermons and books, she delivered a message of redemption, emphasizing that no one is beyond hope or healing. Her candor about her struggles with addiction and sexuality challenged the silence often found in religious circles. She has used her platform to advocate for acceptance and grace, and her best-selling book, No More Sheets, addresses these themes directly. This transparency has resonated with audiences who see in her a reflection of their own challenges and a guide toward healing. Despite the hardships, Bynum's ability to transform her pain into purpose has fueled her ministry. Her No More Sheets sermon, which drew from her personal experiences, became a hallmark of her message and had a profound impact, especially on Black women. Her books and speeches continue to emphasize that pain can be a catalyst for spiritual growth and empowerment. Her 50th birthday celebration, where she redefined herself and signaled a new chapter in her life, was a powerful symbol of resilience and self-acceptance. Throughout her career, she has advocated for women's empowerment and spiritual healing, inspiring countless people with her honesty and determination. While she has faced criticism and controversy, her impact as a trailblazer in ministry and as an advocate for healing and empowerment remains undeniable. Her legacy is one of courage, transformation, and the power to rise above adversity, offering hope and inspiration to those who face their own struggles.